Bitcoin. Bitcoin and its derivative cryptocurrencies carry the ability to embed small amounts of data, whether code or text, to act as a contract. Bitcoin's ability to have multi-signature transactions means that both parties can sign the transaction, and it's then on the blockchain forever. Of course, this process is not without cost, because a small amount of Bitcoin would need to be included in the transaction to cover the miner's fee. In 2010, Satoshi Nakamoto said that he designed into Bitcoin the ability to carry out multiple contract types, including escrow transactions, bonded contracts, third-party arbitration, and multi-signature contracts. Bitcoin uses the simple stack-based language that was discussed in Chapter 4, Transactions, but only a very limited number of operations can be done. The standard script for a pay-to-hash transaction is left-pointing chevron, lowercase sig, right-pointing chevron, space, left-pointing chevron, lowercase pub, initial cap key, right-pointing chevron, space, all caps op underscore all caps dup, space, all caps op underscore all caps hash 160, space, left-pointing chevron, lowercase pub, initial cap key, initial cap hash, right-pointing chevron, space, all caps op underscore, equal, verify, space, all caps op underscore, all caps, check sig. This takes the public key and duplicates it, hashes it using SHA-256 and RIPEMD 160, checks that the inputs are equal, and then checks that the input signature is valid. The uppercase op underscore check multisig at the end of this script checks that the supplied signatures on the transaction are valid signatures from the specified number of public keys. This enables multiple public keys to be used to lock the transaction. A number of ways exist to create a contract on Bitcoin. One way uses two transactions, the contract and the payment. If each of these transactions requires signing by both parties involved in the contract, then trust can be achieved. Another type of contract uses a feature of the script operation n-locktime, which can be used to delay a contract from being included in the blockchain until a specific time or block height is achieved. If the n-locktime value is less than 500 million, it is interpreted as a block height number, and if it's over 500 million, it is then understood to be a Unix timestamp. This operation means that the transaction will not lock until the specified height or time is reached. This could be useful for something as simple as a son wanting to send money to his parents on their wedding anniversary. He would just set the Unix timestamp lock time to the anniversary date, and the transaction will not happen until then. N-lock time can also be used in contract transactions to ensure that the contract or payment is not encoded on the blockchain until a specific point in time. Bitcoin has not been used significantly for complex contracts to date, but that could change in the future. Ethereum. Ethereum is different from a Bitcoin-type blockchain in that each transaction is essentially framed as a contract. Although Ethereum will only allow a transaction from one address to another, a contract can call multiple transactions. Ethereum also has a considerably more complex scripting language called a Turing-complete, which can be used to design a program that can perform any computation. With Ethereum, the process of enabling transactions to complete only where certain conditions are met is straightforward. For example, imagine a gambling site based on Ethereum where bets are placed on the blockchain and payment is made in either direction when the conditions for a win or lose are met. Another example might be encoding a transfer of sale for a car or a house. Deeds of ownership could never be lost or destroyed, because the proof of ownership would exist on the blockchain in thousands of places simultaneously. That is assuming, of course, that you do not lose your private key, which would remove your ability to prove ownership of the contract. Essentially, a blockchain like Ethereum could be used for just about any type of contract. An interesting example of this is the first wedding contract that was made available for Ethereum. The code is available on GitHub, bit.ly/2ZGX